My current savings plan kind of sucks, so let's talk about it. So the first thing I want to save for is an emergency fund. Now my emergency fund was used up pretty recently, very small emergency. I didn't have a whole lot in there, so now I'm starting over. And what I was doing was having $34 automatically transferred to my savings account from every single paycheck. I don't know what that is percentage wise, but that's very small for what my paychecks are. So I've been feeling for a while that something needs to change. Essentially, I'm trying to tackle debt pretty aggressively. And while I'm happy with the plan that I have and I'm happy that I've been consistent in implementing it, I am really starting to struggle. It's really making my budget a bit tight. I want to say a full 10% would be close to 100. So $34 is not quite enough, but I definitely feel like I'm not making quite enough to be setting aside $100 per paycheck. So I'm going to fall somewhere in the middle and I'm going to start putting aside $50 per paycheck. Now, an emergency fund is one of those things where even if you hit your goal, it's a really good idea to continue contributing to it. The first goal I have for my savings is to have a $2,000 emergency fund in place. Now, once I reach that threshold, I'm a little bit torn on what I should be doing with my savings account from that point on, because while $2,000 is a decent emergency fund, I do feel like it should be a little bit higher, but at the same time, there are other things I'm going to want to start saving towards. So first of all, I am aggressively trying to tackle debt. So once I have a $2,000 emergency fund in place, I will probably lower the amount that I'm setting aside from every single paycheck to tackle the rest of that debt. And as soon as that is accomplished, I want to increase my emergency fund to about $10,000. The reason being that I am on my way to buying a home. Once debt is either taken care of completely or at a level that I am comfortable with, I will move my emergency fund from $2,000 to $10,000. The reason for that is that I am on a journey to buying a house, and I do not want to be caught with an emergency fund that's less than $10,000 if I'm buying a house. You just never know when you're going to get hit with a crazy expensive repair. Now let's assume in this time frame that my income has not changed, and each paycheck is about $1,760. I'm going to have to determine the exact amounts that I'm setting aside to my savings at various points in time along this journey, but once I have a $10,000 emergency fund in my savings, then I want to be saving for a down payment and closing costs. At that point, I will probably be setting aside $200 to $300 per paycheck to my savings. That feels a little bit hefty now, but if I truly am consistent in knocking out some of the debt that I want to take care of, that will be pretty doable in terms of my budget. That being said, I do want to be making just a little bit more money right now. I'm kind of thinking of starting some type of side hustle. I really would prefer that as opposed to taking on a part-time job, because I really don't want to be tied down to a schedule and trying to mesh that with what I've already got going on. That being said, even bringing in another $100 or a couple $100 a month would make a pretty big difference that I could just throw into my savings as well. So that's the current plan. I'm going from setting aside $34 per paycheck to setting aside $50 per paycheck, but I'd really like to be doing at least $100. So hopefully I'll be able to make that change soon.